system. World Cup is coming to closure. We have the finalists. Sorry, England, you're going home. I don't know about it coming home. So all of my UK listeners, you can relax now. Don't go to bed yet, though. Those of you who choose to stay up late, you don't have to wallow in the pain of not getting to the finals. But it was a great account of your performance. But I would say we can all agree the better team won, obviously. In Argentina, defending champions, who are going to meet the number one European team in Spain. So some refer to Spain's team as Team Barcelona, given that most of their team is made up of Barcelona players. So Messi gets to play against his former team. So this is going to be an exciting closure to what has been a month long of entertainment and I would say quality football. Questionable football also when we think in terms of some of the officiating. A lot of conspiracy theories out there about the World Cup being fixed. We'll leave it to everyone else's deconstruction and analysis of what we have witnessed. But tonight, we're addressing an important subject matter, the geopolitics of governance, measuring political leadership, and why not? Why not, people? When we look at what's going on, yes, globally, of course, you saw Lindsey Graham died somewhat suddenly, and political leadership, that is Donald Trump, decides that his sister will occupy his seat, someone who has no experience in Congress, but hey, that's his sister. So Trump made sure that, hey, he'll carry on the Lindsey Graham name. Governance, hey, that's his measure of governance. And of course, when we look at the geopolitics on the grander scale, Bermuda plays its role also. And so we're going to get into the foundation of our measuring our own political leadership and tying it into the geopolitics. We see what's going on. I don't call it a merry-go-round, but with Premier Burt calling closure on his leadership come October, Minister Jason Hayward, is jockeying for leadership. Backbencher Curtis Dickerson is jockeying for leadership of the party. Both are, I would say, campaigning, town hall meetings. I think tonight, actually. I think Curtis Dickerson has one going on tonight in the West End. My understanding, there was great attendance at the one in Warwick last night. So people, there are those who've been saying, well, I don't see Curtis Dickerson. Well, I would say people, admittedly, you don't know, he's put it out there. So those of you who say you haven't seen, maybe you're just looking in the wrong places, right? Because he certainly has made his campaign, I would say, visible via social media and other community networks that are putting out there his special interest candidacy for the leadership of the Progressive Labor Party and ultimately leadership of the country. So, like I said, contested between he and Jason Hayward, who has also put his campaign out there on a series and number of town hall meetings. So both of them are out there. They're putting their case to the public. Whether you agree, disagree, these are things we want to know. But, it's been the merry-go-round. You see a lot of the shifts started with former Minister of Education, Crystal Caesar, making I don't know, it sounded like given that Curtis Dixon is campaigning on integrity, Minister Caesar ended her campaign or ended her leadership role as the Minister of Education on integrity. So this word integrity seems like it's going to be somewhat of a theme that goes with dignity and moral compass, all of the above, leading up to change of leadership come October. And of course, we saw the response of Premier Burt in placing, reappointing 2.0, Diallo Rebane as the Minister of Education. And let me just say, people, coming up in the new year, come September, we're doing some exciting things on all fronts as we address that most important subject matter. Matter of fact, we're kicking off the year with Dr. Anand. And if you saw Dr. Anand's article in the papers where he speaks to the flight, he don't call it white flight, but, the flight away from Bermuda's education system, whether it's public education and private education also, people, and of course Bermuda College. And what can we do to encourage our people to invest and reinvest in what is ours in terms of education as a whole? So we're going to be having some discussion with Dr. Anand. That's going to be September the 2nd. So I'm giving you a preview of what's coming. And of course, people, as we always do, let me run it off. Next week, there will be no live on all fronts. I have a professional engagement that I must participate in overseas. And, whenever we are called to duty, we take full advantage of it, or I take full advantage of it, and especially if people are paying the way. So I have that duty and responsibility come next week. So there will be no live on all fronts. I have made a request. To Brother Glenn of doing somewhat of a back by popular demand segment, and we'll have, hopefully, I don't know which one. I left it to the discretion of the minds of Glenn Blakeney, and so we'll see. But the following, of course, that is on the 29th. It was the night before Somerset's victory, or St. George's victory. Okay, let me be nice, people. Cup match is coming up, so we're 2 weeks away. And so, hey, let's get ready. But on the 29th, I will be back on radio on the 29th, and we'll close out. Let me just say, we will close out until September following that show. So I know for the month of August, usually we take the month of August off, summer recess, also county games. So we, give way to, let's say, the voices of summer. So there's cup match, and then there's also county games through the month of August. So we take our summer recess. And when I say we, the need to lead and on all fronts is on summer recess. And both will resume in September. So look out for us come September. So that gives you somewhat of a preview of what's coming up. But like I said, tonight, I want to get into open mic, geopolitics of governance, measuring political leadership. And I want to set the tone. I want to set the tone with something. Just think of these two questions. You may write them down. I'll repeat them again. But does a political leader perception of geopolitical risk influence the real economy? Now, when you take that question, does a political leader perception of geopolitical risk influence the real economy? And you may have seen on the news tonight, actually. I think it was something on the news tonight pertaining to CARICOM. And CARICOM is an ongoing narrative that is endless for us. There are many of you out there who have taken the position that this is a decision that's already made. There are those who believe a referendum should be put before the people. So as much as there's been lots of discussion, certainly on all fronts, and other radio networks on CARICOM and what Bermuda's role is as a current associate member, but as we make the plea for full membership, certainly there's been numerous adverts by the government where you get a strong indication that it's a move that they want to take. They want to make the move toward a full membership. No, they're not outwardly saying it, but hey, you can tell by the adverts. You look at the adverts, and the adverts give it away. It's a direction that they want to take in terms of full membership. So there are many discussions, and that's a geopolitical risk. So does a political leader perception, in this case, the perception of, we know that a number of ministers and backbenchers went to CARICOM and participated. But what was their participation? We heard Gary of BBC News give somewhat of a commentary of did we go as onlookers, or did we go there as decision makers? Well, obviously, if you're an associate member, you're nothing more than an onlooker. So much of the discussion was to do with CARICOM and reparations. And, we've had that conversation ongoing, and these are things that we will take up also in the new season of the need to lead, and on all fronts, especially on that important subject. So when you look at the political leader perception of the premier and all of his team, that particular decision, is it a geopolitical risk that will influence the real economy of Bermuda? And then when we think in terms of, like I said, the fact that many are challenging for leadership roles in government, as I stated, namely Jason Hayward and Curtis Dickerson for the premiership, but Minister Weeks and Tanae Furbert and Zane De Silva. Although Zane started off, Zane still is on the fence, I'm going to say. He started out making it very clear he would look to be the deputy to Jason Hayward, but it sounds like since there are more names, I know Lawrence Scott's another one. Yeah, he's another who's vying for deputy leadership positions with Weeks, Tanae, Furbert. So these are some of our political leaders on the local scene. And let me just say to my international audience, I haven't left you out, because I'm going to somewhat set the tone tonight, because I like to listen and play some of Shahid Bolson's political commentary, especially because it places into context our current political realities locally and internationally. And he has a particularly very informative series and piece where he talks about the dignity and the dependency when you talk about political leadership. And he places certain things in context. So what I would like for us to do, I'm going to play, it's about 30 minutes. And at the top, I say toward the top of the hour, at the conclusion of it, we'll open it up. We'll open it up for you. And we'll be provocative with some of the things that you observe, what you see. Some of you may be also at I think it's in the West End, St. James. Curtis Dickinson is doing the fireside chat. And I also know he's also made a plea. And this one I found very interesting. A plea, I think that's going to be, he's doing something on education, I heard. What was it? Yeah. The Educators Barbecue with MP Curtis Dickinson. And that is going to be, wow. Yeah, well, you better get that over with before the World Cup starts, because that's going to start at 12 p.m. On July 19th. That's next Sunday. That's going to be at the Hamilton Princess Marina. And, well, attendees must RSVP before the event. So, obviously, this is not an open event, per se. Because, yeah, it's an invitation, but, hey, RSVP to let, I guess, him know that you will be in attendance on the Educators Barbecue. And I believe that my understanding with this particular fireside chat or barbecue, it's a plea to teachers, educators. And given that he was one who was a chair of the board, I believe, and we know the fate of that board, and it's going to be reinstated, we don't know. We hear it will be, along with the Education Authority. These are all political leadership decisions, people. Geopolitical risk. Geopolitical risk. And so these are things that we will be unpacking, all right, in the coming months. But like I said, much right now is about the leadership. And let's listen to Shahid. And I ask of you to, write your questions. You know, if you heard something that appeals to you, hey, comment on what you heard. But listen up. This is Shahid Bolson. Dignity versus dependency of our political leadership. Okay, hold on. This always is my...
I don't care what you call it. You can call it anything you like. Democracy or dictatorship, monarchy or parliamentarian, republic or federation, authoritarian or libertarian. It's all the same to me. It makes no difference whatsoever in terms of the way that I look at it, because I don't look at your models or what you call them. I don't look at your labels. I don't look at your political theories. I'm interested only in outcomes. That's all I'm interested in, is the outcomes. And if you're not interested only in outcomes...
And those of you who are calling, you obviously didn't listen to the hour.
For the fact that this misery that you're living in was at least arrived at democratically. I think that's foolishness. For myself personally, I'm only concerned with the quality of people's lives, with the cost of their living, with the opportunities that they have, with the mobility that they have, with the security and the stability that they have, and the safety that they have, the safety and the protections that they have under the law, and the cohesion and the relative harmony of the society that they live in. This is what I'm concerned about. Like I said, social outcomes. And I'm concerned about their freedom, freedom from fear, and freedom from exploitation, and freedom from dispossession. I'm interested in if the weak are protected from the strong. I care about social outcomes, economic outcomes. And if you can achieve net positive conditions for your society, net positive conditions for your society, then I say that is a successful system, no matter what the model is, no matter what the label is. I don't believe in capitalism or communism or socialism or Marxism or libertarianism or what have you. Any of those philosophies, any of those ideas, any of those theories. I believe in outcomeism. And if you start to look at things that way, then I think you'll find that all of these labels are in fact only put in front of you, in front of your face, precisely to prevent you from ever looking at the outcomes that any of these models ever achieve in the real world. They want you to deprioritize your real world interests, your real world concerns, in favor of some abstract philosophical political principles that they say you should believe in, even if everyone else who ever said that they believe in those same philosophical and political principles even if those same people are also the same ones who are failing to make your life any better in the real world. They're the same ones, usually, in fact, who are actually actively making your life more miserable. Believing in democracy isn't going to help you pay your rent. Believing in democracy isn't going to help you pay your mortgage. When you go to the grocery store, you can't pay for your food by scanning your voter ID card at the checkout counter. Be serious. When you can't afford to go to the doctor or you can't buy medicine, you can't have the costs waived by telling them how much you believe in the American Constitution. No, give me a house to live in. Give me food to eat. Give me medicine when I'm sick. Give me quality education for my children. Give me safe streets to walk on without getting shot or getting robbed or getting assaulted. Give me a way to earn an income that doesn't humiliate me and that doesn't leave me completely numb and mentally and physically drained at the end of the day to the point where I can't even interact with my own family. Give me enough financial and social latitude in the society to where I can explore my own personal interests, I can explore my own personal talents and my intellectual pursuits. Let me be able to pursue those things without it damaging me economically. And let me know that if, Allah forbid, if catastrophe strikes me and my family, my society isn't going to throw me in the gutter, but my society is going to actually give me the support that I need just to be able to get through that hard patch. Because you and I both know that when you see those homeless people on the streets, that's your society letting you know exactly how easy it is for them to cast you aside. Just how easy it is for them to cast you aside. No matter how long you've been paying into the system. You might have been paying into the system for decades. No, we all know what a decent, civilized, humane society is supposed to look like. We know what it's supposed to look like, even if we've only ever seen it in our imagination. And if your model can establish and sustain a society like that without depending upon violence against others or violence against their own people, and without depending upon extraction of others' resources, then who am I to criticize your model? Wallahi, anyone who defends a model that cannot or will not deliver a basic, decent life for its citizens, well, that person is a fool. And anyone who attacks a model that does deliver these things for their citizens, then you're an even bigger fool. And most likely you're living in a system that treats you exactly like a fool. And most likely you're living in a system that does everything that it possibly can to keep you foolish. And most likely, again, that's probably the main thing, if not the only thing, that your system is actually even delivering to you at all in terms of outcomes. Meaning they're delivering you negative outcomes, negative conditions, but they're making you too dumb to see it. So yes, don't talk to me about your models. Don't talk to me about your ideologies. Don't talk to me about your parties and your theories and whatnot. Talk to me about outcomes. If you want to sell me on your political theories and everything that your model promises it can do, but has never actually delivered in the real world, that's so 20th century, honestly. That's so 20th century. We're not about that kind of nonsense anymore. Not in 2025. I mean, you talked a good game for a long time, America, the West. You talked a good game for a long time, and we were fooled by your words for a very long time, for far too long. We were blinded by your words. Yes, we were. We were blinded by your words, and to the extent that we actually overlooked your deeds. Because your talk was so pretty and so beautiful that you had us completely starstruck for many, many years, for decades, in fact. You could actually convince us, you know, you would stick a knife in our rib cage and have us actually convinced that it was only your knife that was keeping us standing up. Like you would impale us on a spike and make us think that that spike that we were impaled upon was the only thing holding us up. That's how good you were with your words. That's how good you were with your propaganda. You love-bombed the whole global South right alongside your real bombs. And many of us chose to overlook the devastation. We chose to overlook the devastation and believe in your promises about development. Just like a con man. You took and took and took and took, and you extracted our wealth, you extracted our resources and our labor and our sovereignty and our independence. And we kept believing that we're going to get something back in return. We're going to get something more valuable back in return if we give you all of that. We're going to get democracy. We're going to get development. We're going to get freedom. We're going to get liberty. You sold us all of these abstractions and made them sound so wonderful that we actually thought it was going to be better than what we had before. Than what we had before you took it from us. You understand? Never mind that what we had was obviously so much better than what you had that you had to come all the way over to our lands to take it from us? You understand? We never stopped to ask that question. We never stopped to ask if what they have is so good over there, then why are they over here taking our stuff? I mean, if all you need is democracy, if all you need is liberty, if all you need is freedom, if that's all you need, then why do you also need our sugar? Why do you also need our wheat, our cocoa, our minerals, our oil, our gas, our gold, our diamonds, our rubber, our lumber? Why can't you just stay over there where you came from with all of your wonderful virtues and with your American way and whatnot, if it's so wonderful? Because the truth of the matter is that those virtues, so-called, were never the engine of your vehicle. They were just the paint job. The slogans and the labels and the models were never meant to describe reality. They were always meant to conceal reality or to distract or obfuscate from reality. They keep trying to have you focused on these abstractions, these abstract principles, so that you stay in denial about the outcomes that you're living in. They didn't come to the global south because they loved freedom and they wanted to spread freedom. No, everyone knows that. They came because they loved our resources. They came because they loved our inputs. They came because they loved our stuff. In fact, they loved our stuff so much that they took our freedom to get it. And that's how little they love the principle of freedom. That's because your whole model, whatever label you attach to it, your whole model was in fact built just to be a machine that runs on other people's land, other people's labor, other people's debt, other people's blood, other people's exploitation, other people's futures. And that machine takes other people's freedom, and it takes other people's liberty, and it takes other people's safety. And this is why I keep telling you, you need to stop being hypnotized by this word democracy as if it's some kind of a magical spell. No, stop being fooled when they talk about human rights, for example. All of these things that they like to preach about. This is just another way of calling our societies uncivilized and primitive. That's all they're doing. Like we need Westerners, we need Europeans, we need Americans to come over and teach us about human rights. That's the same old colonial pretext. It's the same old colonial sales pitch. It's the white man's burden for the 21st century. Nobody violated our rights more than you did. What are you talking about? All of our societies care about our own people. We care about our own people. Your whole so-called civilization was built on violating the rights of human beings, our people and your own people. And now you think that we're supposed to listen to you telling us about what our rights are and how to protect our rights? No, we know very well, we know perfectly well how to protect our human rights, and it starts with us keeping as far away as possible from you. Because look, whenever they come to a place, whenever they land in a place, what do? The first thing they do is build a pipeline of dependency. They grab the ports, they grab the banks, the trade routes, the currency arrangements, the legal regime, the media ecosystem, the NGO ecosystem, the aid ecosystem, and they call that institution building. They call it nation building, right? That's what they call it. They call it development. Imagine, we were built up before you got here. We were built up, we were developed before you came to destroy everything. You come and you demolish everything, and then you set up all of these tools of extraction, and you say that you're helping us develop. And what does it develop? It develops our dependency, and it develops your access. It develops your ownership of our land and our resources. It develops your ability to turn our country on and off like a light switch. That's why they can scream about democracy. They can preach about democracy, while at the same time, we all know that they're perfectly happy backing dictators as long as that dictator is their dictator, is a loyal dictator loyal to them. Because it was never about the label. It was never about the model. It was always about outcomes for them, positive outcomes for them, and zero outcomes for us. And the slickest trick in the game that they got you to believe in was that they trained you to argue about these models, while they impose conditions on you that they tell you that their models are going to save you from. They trained you to fight each other over these political theories, over these parties, over these ideologies and what have you, while they own the money system. They trained you to scream at each other and to fight each other over left and right, over conservative or liberal. They want you to fight about those things while they write the trade rules. They trained you to talk about so-called values while they're busy taking the minerals out of the ground and shipping them away. That's what they value. They trained you to think that you're free because you get to insult the President of the United States. You can insult your politicians. You can't do that anywhere else in the world. Meanwhile, you can't afford your rent. You can't afford a family. You can't afford a doctor. You can't afford to be sick. You can't afford to even get old. And you have absolutely no recourse whatsoever to challenge any of that. But you get to mock Trump. You can make fun of Biden, so you must be free. Hallelujah. I mean, sure, you can also make jokes. Yes, you can also make jokes about the private sector elites. You can. The ones who rule you, who truly rule you, you're allowed to make fun of them too. But look at the nature of the jokes that you hear about the private sector elites. The jokes are always about how powerful they are, how rich they are, how much they control everything, how much impunity they have. Those aren't jokes, not really. Those are statements just to reinforce their authority, reinforces their impunity. What kind of freedom is it when the basic necessities of life are held hostage by people that you can't even vote out, that you can't even sue, you can't even boycott them effectively, you can't outbid them and you can't outlast them? What kind of freedom is it when your own society can't feed itself, can't power itself, can't secure itself, can't educate itself, can't treat itself, and can't afford to live without becoming a permanent debt slave? So no, when I hear Westerners talking about we have a democracy, I say, okay, hooray for you, but what are the outcomes? Show me the outcomes. Why is homelessness so normal in your country? Why is medical bankruptcy so normal in your country? Why are so many people just one layoff away from complete financial collapse? Why is the cost of living so soul-crushing? Why are communities, all of your communities, so atomized, your family so fractured and broken? Why is there this loneliness epidemic? Why is everyone drowning in antidepressants and fentanyl and alcohol and porn and doom scrolling? And then you want to turn around and export this model? You want to export this model to the rest of the world? No. No, thank you. We don't need any of your psychologically transmitted diseases, any of your politically transmitted diseases. You probably think that I'm trying to insult you, like I'm the one who did this to you. You feel insulted to be told about how insulted you have been by your own political system and economic system. I'm saying this because it's the first step of waking up. It's the first step of realizing that the thing you were taught to support, the thing you were taught to defend and to believe in, never delivers for you. And it was never designed to deliver for you. Because the West, at the top, doesn't even have a political model. That's the truth. It has a Machiavellian management system. That's all it has. It has a system of control by any means. And it can wear whatever costume it wants depending upon the audience. Sometimes it's going to wear the election costume. Sometimes it's going to dress up in a court robe. Sometimes it's going to
Yes, 21.
Civil rights. Sometimes the language of humanitarian relief, humanitarian concerns. Sometimes it's going to wear the language of feminism and women's rights and what have you. Sometimes it wears the uniform of counterterrorism. Sometimes it wears Judeo-Christian values and so forth. I said the costume changes depending upon the audience, depending upon the target audience. But the outcome is consistent. The outcome is consistent. What's the outcome? The powerful remain completely insulated and immune, and the public remains completely subjugated and distracted. Democracy. That's your outcome. That's the outcome of your system, of your model. So yes, the truth of the matter is we're not listening to you anymore. We're looking at what you do. We're looking at the outcomes of what you do. We look at what you do and what you've done, and we're counting the cost. We're looking at your outcomes, both in our countries and in your own country. Alhamdulillah, Islam teaches us that we're supposed to look at your deeds. We're supposed to look at your actions and judge you upon that basis. And if your words align with your actions, then all well and good. But if they do not align, and they never have aligned, then we understand that the only way that we can ever possibly discern the truth about you is by watching what you do, and not at all by listening to what you say. And my advice to the people over there, to the average American and the average Westerner, is to do the same. Approach things the same way. Your democracy, your liberty, your capitalism, your rights, your liberalism, your pluralism, your equality, your individualism and what have you. These are all just parade floats that are mounted on the backs of tanks that have been running over everybody. They've been running over everyone for years and years and for decade after decade after decade. But the great charade is over now. It's over. You understand that genuinely advanced, genuinely sophisticated, ancient and profound civilizations in this world have been deferring to the West and deferring to America And we gave you the microphone for a long time, and we let you talk. And when we let you talk, all this time, the collective IQ of the human race has been qualitatively lowered as a result. And I mean literally, I'm not even joking. Not just in America, not just in the West. No, I wish it was, but it's not. Everywhere that you went, everywhere that you went, everywhere that you had influence, you sabotaged the minds of the people. You sabotaged the intelligence of the people, the psyches of the people. Because when you colonized, your hegemony descended on the world, on the lands that you colonized, like a cloud of confusion that was so thick it left most of us with zero visibility. That's mental and intellectual and psychological colonization. Because look, when you listen to stupid all day long, your brain recalibrates to lower standards. Your intellectual muscles atrophy. Because when a people are forced to perform ignorance and stupidity just in order to survive, when your schools and your courts and your media and your development plans and your entire political imagination must be translated into the language of the occupier, then the smartest minds in your country, the smartest minds in your nation spend their whole lives negotiating nothing but nonsense. You know how it feels. I know you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You take civilizations like the Islamic civilization that used to explore physics, metaphysics, governance, ethics, mathematics, science, architecture, what it means to have a good life, what's the purpose of life, and so forth, and you reduce those people, you reduce that civilization to nothing but cheap labor, begging for recognition, pleading for aid, literally writing grant proposals just so that they can get permission to drink their own water. Yes, in Haiti you did that. In Kenya, in Nigeria, and in Bolivia you did that. Our countries and our governments have been in a hostage situation, and our captor can only speak in monosyllables. It degrades your mind. Islamic civilization wasn't waiting for Europeans to come over and teach us anything. We didn't need you to teach us anything, not from human rights to hygiene. We were light years ahead of you. Our civilization carries a moral architecture embedded in it that makes rulers accountable to the law, makes rulers accountable to God. And we built institutions that outlived whole dynasties. The Beit al-Hikmah in Baghdad, that existed because knowledge, pursuit of knowledge, was treated like an obligation for even every rank and file person in the country, in the land, in the empire. Andalusia became what we made it because refinement and because scholarship and because public order and decency and sophistication are our civilizational habits. But it's not just us. I don't say that the Muslims were the only people in the world who ever built rich and enriching civilizations. No, there have been many. And we give them their due. We give them credit where credit is due. But do you think that the Chinese were nothing until Nixon started dealing with them in the 70s? China didn't just wake up one day and discover, oh, we have a history after all. No, they had very advanced statecraft, bureaucracy, engineering, philosophy, production, science, long-range strategy. They were performing long-range strategy while Europe was still trying to decide whether or not bathing caused disease. Africa didn't begin at the moment when Portuguese ships showed up. No, Africa had empires. They had trade corridors. They had scholarship. They had metallurgy. They had law. They had cities. They had systems of governance. They had systems of governance that the Europeans later pretended never existed. Because if you admit the humanity and the sophistication and the advancement of the people that you rob, then you have to face what a heinous criminal you are. What a heinous criminal you are for robbing them. Now, you didn't attack the Global South because you thought that the people and that the civilizations in the Global South were inferior to yours. You attacked them so that your inferior so-called civilization could claim superiority just by being able to gloat over the carnage and the debris that you caused from the people and the civilizations that were better than you. The people that you vanquished, not because you were superior, but because you were more savage. And think about the Americas, so-called Latin America. They had entire civilizations that already had calendars, had advanced agriculture, had medicine, had architecture, incredible architectural feats. They had governance. Then Europe arrives carrying their smallpox and their guns and their theology of entitlement. They turned the whole continent into a quarry. And then they told the survivors centuries later that they lacked any institutional maturity. That's like an arsonist setting fire to your house and then making fun of you because you're homeless. Like I said, this so-called Western civilization has been monopolizing the spotlight and the microphone on the global stage for far too long. And while they're standing in the spotlight, they're keeping their crimes in the shadows. And you didn't do all of that through your superior morality, not at all, and certainly not through your superior social or economic outcomes. You didn't do it through superior discipline. You did it through force. You did it through force that was multiplied by industry, industry multiplied by extraction, and extraction multiplied by a global narrative that called your robbery and your pillage a civilizing mission. You did it through gunboats and unequal treaties that you didn't even keep. You did it through the opium wars, yes, literally going to war so that you can force drugs onto an entire nation just because they won't buy enough of your products. This is how you do. You did it through the Congo's blood-soaked rubber, where hands were cut off of the native people, of the indigenous people, just so that you could meet your quotas. And then later in that same century, Europe wants to publish pamphlets about African savagery. And you did it through slavery. We know, everyone knows you did it through slavery. Industrial modernity was financed on the stolen bodies and stolen labor of African people. You don't get to steal the work of millions of people and build your ports and build your banks and build your factories and build your White House on the back of that theft and then start delivering sermons about the great Western American values of hard work and merit. Who do you think you're fooling? Coups, debt traps, structural adjustment reforms, sanctions, rule-based order, the IMF, your think tanks that don't think about anything except how to tank out countries. You had our good leaders assassinated, and you had your collaborators installed. You had them installed, you had them demonized after they ceased being useful, and then you had them removed and replaced. Like I said, the most insulting part of all of this is your endless preaching, your endless posturing. You've spent over 2 centuries turning the whole world into your torture chamber, and then you show up with a clipboard asking us why we have trauma responses. You divided societies and you'd arm both sides, fund the conflicts, profit from the reconstruction, and then you'd send Amnesty International, you'd send your Human Rights Watch over to our countries that you had just devastated and have your journalists or your human rights reporters express their horror at all of the atrocities that you yourselves had engineered. So yes, we're not listening to you anymore. We're not listening to you anymore. We're looking at outcomes. And the outcomes that you have caused would indict you in your own court under your own so-called rule of law and with your own evidence. Yes, the evidence is right there in your country. You don't forget about our countries. Forget about what you did in our countries. We're going to be fine. But the evidence of your wrongdoing is right there on your own streets. Like I say, look at your cities. Look at the loneliness of your people. Look at the addiction. Look at the ideological breakdowns where you've got people who can't agree on what a man is, what a woman is, what a child is, what duty is, what the future is supposed to look like, what life is even for. Look at the debt. Look at the collapsing trust in your institutions. Look at the violence of your politics. Look at the grotesque wealth concentration in your society. Look at the way that your working classes are treated like disposable objects, disposable parts in a machine. And then they're told to be grateful because they have freedom, because they have democracy. This is satire. This isn't civilization. That's why we're taking back the microphone. Because the world is done with being preached to by criminals, and we're done being managed by a society that cannot even manage itself. Look, the global economic transition, this is not just a slogan. This is a true shifting terrain. You're talking about supply chains, energy corridors, payment systems, development banks, industrial planning, South-South trade. All of this is blooming. These are world-changing mechanisms. These are the world-changing mechanisms that move history. While Western media is busy manufacturing fake drama to keep you distracted, keep you occupied, keep you entertained, other powers in the world are busy building ports and rail and infrastructure, refining capacity, food security, currency arrangements. BRICS signifies that the world no longer accepts for there to be just one center of power. It's a signal that alternatives are being tested, and those alternatives are going to be institutionalized and expanded across the world. It's a signal that the old world order which depended on everyone needing access to Western capital and Western approval, they're losing their monopoly. And what's more, your own elites are jumping ship. Your own private sector elites are jumping ship. They ran that Titanic head on into the iceberg, and now they're scattering for the lifeboats. And all the rest of you in the lower decks, you were dreaming that maybe one day you'd be able to be in the dining hall with all the fancy people, but in fact, you're just going to go down with the ship. That's the outcome that they steered you into. And now America, yes, America is withdrawing from direct international management. They're withdrawing. They're not doing it out of humility. They're doing it out of cost, out of fatigue, out of internal fracture, out of strategic recalibration. You can call it pivoting, you can call it retrenchment, you can call it whatever you like, but it's happening. This is the reality. America is losing its bandwidth. Their ability is shrinking. Their ability to play the global judge, jury, and executioner is shrinking. They're going to lose that position. Because that's what happens when you build your empire on consumption, on debt, on oppression, and then upon nothing but narrative. Eventually the bill comes due, and you're going to have to pay for it, and you're not going to be able to talk your way out of paying for it. So what does it look like when the adults return to the room, when the grown-ups come to the stage and take the microphone? Well, it's very simple. We're talking about civilizational memory waking up. We're talking about 2 billion Muslims in the world remembering that Islam doesn't need Western validation. It doesn't need Western validation or approval to be true, to be beautiful, and to be workable. We're talking about Africans asserting that their future does not require begging for the crumbs of their own extracted wealth, and who understand that resources plus strategy plus unity equals victory. Future looks like Ibrahim Traore. It looks like China doing what ancient civilizations do, planning in decades, not in election cycles. Investing in capacity, fortifying themselves, making themselves stronger. And it looks like Latin America understanding that sovereignty means control of your own commodities, your own industry, your own finance, and your own security. And yes, it also means asserting in a loud voice that there's a huge chunk of your territory that's occupied right now by aliens and immigrants and colonizers who dare to call you illegal. Look, human beings are human beings. I'm not saying otherwise. There are brilliant minds in the West. There are people who want to be decent in the West. There are people who want to be moral in the West, I'm sure of it. And there are genuine achievements in science and engineering and technology and so forth in the West, yes. We're giving them that, even though all of those were only pursued and they were only funded for violent colonizer purposes, purposes of oppression and purposes of domination. That's in fact. They are achievements nonetheless. And the achievements that they have accomplished, civilized people will be able to utilize those accomplishments and that technology and those advancements in civilized ways. But the issue is the deceitful civilizational self-description. The issue is the claim that you make to moral leadership. The demand to be treated like you're a teacher when you're behaving like a predator. It's absolutely sadistic. It's absolutely sadistic. You know, you demand the right to rape and pillage, and then you impose an obligation upon your victims that they have to love you and they have to respect you. It's sick. The issue is your values, which you always marketed as if they're universal, even though you universally contradicted them. You made rights expanded at home, but were denied to everyone else abroad. Your law was only ever sacred when it protected your interests, but it was completely inapplicable when it came to your victims. So the change now is not a birth of a new utopia. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the end of a dystopia. That pompous American speaker is being escorted away from the podium. Not by one big dramatic event, not by some cataclysmic event, not by some revolution, but by 1,000 mature, strategic decisions by civilized people, by trade routes, by new institutions, new partnerships, new manufacturing, new security arrangements, new cultural confidence, new refusal to internalize Western propaganda campaigns anymore, and a new refusal to accept any Western definitions and any Western epistemology and your theories and your parties and your models. And so I say to the people in the West, the rank and file, the ordinary people, the truth is you have a choice in this moment. You do have a choice. Like I've said many times, You can choose to cling to the fantasy that you are the center of the world, but then you're just going to become a bitter spectator, watching history move on without you and leave you behind. Or you can do something more dignified. You can make the more dignified choice and start honestly looking at your own real-world outcomes, the real-world outcomes of your so-called models and system. Tell the truth about your system and stop letting your ruling class use you as human shields for their crimes. Because that's what you do. Like when you say, but there are good people in the West. Be nice, Brother Shaheed. That's just you offering yourself as a human shield for the wrongdoers, just so that you can try to deflect justified criticism and condemnation that is being expressed by literally 85% of the people on this earth. Because the world is moving on. The world is waking up and the world is moving on. The world is done, like I say. We're done being talked down to by societies that cannot even keep their own people safe, their own people whole, and their own people sane. This isn't about revenge, it's consequences. This isn't hatred, it's justice. It's not anti-Western, it's pro-ourselves. And the great irony, subhanAllah, is that the West spent centuries acting as though they were the sole authors of history, only to end up producing a world in which history can no longer be monopolized by any one author. So yes, we're not listening anymore. We're not listening anymore. We're building. We're busy. We're remembering. We're aligning ourselves with the civilizational instincts that we have. And we're measuring outcomes and we're counting costs. And we're judging by deeds and deeds alone. The era of listening to the psychopath's sermon is ending. And the era of adult conversation is returning. And that means that we have to stop arguing about all these Western labels, all these Western theories and models, and start working on our own conditions. And once you do that, then you start to understand what the real struggle is. It's not about monarchy versus republic. It's not about capitalism versus socialism. It's not left versus right. It's dignity versus dependence. It's self-sufficiency versus being a slave. It's whether you own your life or not, your own life, or whether somebody else owns all of the conditions that are going to determine whether your life is even going to be livable or not. So yes, keep your pretty words, keep your unrealistic ideological models, keep your party loyalties and what have you. Just show me the outcomes. Show me protection for the weak. Show me food for the hungry. Show me medicine for the sick. Show me a society that doesn't throw people away. Show me a system where your children have a future other than just being debt slaves or living as a drone, working as a drone for someone else's profit. And then after that, after you have achieved that for yourself and for your people and your nation and your society, well, then we can start talking about what you want to call it.
There you have it. Shaheed Bolton. Dignity versus dependency. So, lines are open, people. When you listen to that there, and place that in the context of our current reality, we have all the characters vying for leadership positions. Are these leadership positions of dignity or dependency? Are these leadership positions, we've heard it, and I'm talking all the leadership positions, but certainly those who are vying for upcoming leadership positions. What is the measure of their political leadership? So I asked the question, we hear everyone putting forward their campaign statement for leadership, whether it's the deputy leadership or the political premier leadership. What outcomes? That's the key question. What outcomes are the political leaders selling you? What outcomes? You're the first. Good night, you're on all fronts. Good night, you're on all fronts. Hold on. Good night, you're on all fronts. Lost you? Good night, you're on all fronts.
Yes, good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
That speech that gentleman just said.
Yeah, Dr. Shaheed.
I can agree. Yeah, I can agree with the whole thing, but I've heard it 100 times before, right? But I want to touch base with something that you said earlier about the CARICOM.
Yeah.
I think there should be a referendum because I want to like have a referendum because I don't really like deal with that. I think that money could go do some other things besides paying $1 million just for a seat on the table.
Right.
And my little voice on that seat on that table for all that money I'm got to pay. And ain't gonna do me no harm. And like Donald Trump said, if I want Bermuda, I'll just come down and get it. CARICOM or not.
Right.
So I would like a referendum. Yeah, that's the way we should go about it, not the.
And your position, even placing it in the context of the speech that you just heard by Shahid Bolson. I mean, again, we're fed so many of the political memes. We're fed so many of the slogans when election time comes, and as it relates to CARICOM, again, even in the context of what we just heard, is CARICOM a pipeline of dependency, or is it a pipeline towards sovereignty? Right?
Right.
And whether it's either, what role will Bermuda's people play in the decision of a full membership of CARICOM? So these are certainly things that we have to deal with and wrestle with and hope, because it's we're appealing, or how can I say, we're making and placing our appeal to the government. I'm saying those who want a voice in this for a referendum, but keeping in mind that the government does not have to give the people a referendum, given that the people gave the government the reins to make the decisions on behalf of the people. So, but I get your argument, and there are many people who believe there should be a referendum. At the same time, there is a decision that the people have forfeited, well, I say they have forfeited, of dependency, that allows for the government to make the decision for the people. But your point is taken. Yeah.
Yes. And that, like you just said, the government is going to make its own decisions. So, we're in a police state. I'll leave it like that.
Yeah, we're in a colony. That's for sure.
I think it's a referendum should be deal and let the people make a choice, not you make a choice for me, because you don't know how I think. I don't want to be at the table.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you have a nice night, and I want to like listening to you.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot. Good night, you on all fronts. Good night.
Yes, good evening, Lou.
Yes.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well.
Yes, and good evening to Bermuda.
Yes, sir.
Question, what's the one thing that we admire most about the PLP?
The one thing that we admire most about the PLP?
Yes,
well, what you mean in terms of its current leadership, or is in current governance? Because we're talking governance, or are you talking about Progressive Labor Party as a whole in terms of the legacy of its political history?
Yes.
Then if you, in terms of my greater admiration of the Progressive Labor Party, I would state that without the PLP, we would not be where we are in terms of political development in Bermuda. And I'm talking from 63 all the way to, 63 to the present. So when I reflect on that legacy and that history, I respect that history. It is a history to be respected, as it is a history that is present. And when I say present, when we understand the principles and the philosophy on the formation of the Progressive Labor Party and governance in Bermuda, it still has a lot of unfinished work, or work it has not started. When you understand issues around its constitution and independence. So those are things that I uphold as very important of the Progressive Labor Party legacy to the development of Bermuda.
Yes, Now, what I admire most about the PLP is
Yeah.
that they know how to win.
They know how to win?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You hear from others about honesty and loyalty and truth and all of these other things.
Yeah.
But if you don't win, how can you bring about change?
Well, is it, yeah, okay, so let's place that. They have won, and the change that we are speaking to right now, would you say that with the winning mentality that it has, that it is bringing about the change right now that the people are asking for?
Remember,
Well,
long-term survival of the PLP, they're bringing about change that they see best for them.
for them, when you say for them, yeah, I interpret that to mean the internal infrastructure of its membership, as opposed to
Not only that. Last week we spoke about leadership. They have already selected their leader. I can't hear you.
well, you say they've selected their leader. We know that Bert is right now their leader that has been selected.
I'm not talking about Bert. We didn't talk about Bert.
Well, who leader are you talking about? I know they have a number of leaders, a number of people vying for leadership. We know they got Curtis, they have Jason Hayward vying for leadership. Now, you're speaking in riddles, which is your modus operandi, but
No, I'm not speaking in riddles.
well, who is the leader that they have selected? You're saying
the leader that Mr. Burt has thrown his weight behind?
Okay.
Who's the leader that the PLP has thrown their weight behind?
On the evidence, now we're getting somewhere. On the evidence of the way things have been presented, it is clear. It is clear that while this will go through an internal PLP so-called democratic process with their delegate members, the orchestration of this here clearly shows that the current leadership favors Jason Hayward.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And
you deconstruct it, you can see it. Yeah.
Yes, I tell all the critics, be quiet,
Right.
because it's an internal PLP process.
Right. And let me just ask that, let me put this question, because this is something of concern to the people too, which gets at the whole issue of even what we were just listening to. When we're talking about the outcomes and issues of the dependency and dignity, would you, as a astute politician that you are and social activist, would you say that the people have had their dignity stripped of decision making in place of the electable dependency of the government decision making on many of the issues, let's say even CARICOM?
I mean, CARICOM's a whole.
I just put CARICOM, but we can go across most government decision making.
The thing about human nature is this.
But you didn't answer my question. I'm asking, would you say that we will forfeit decisions that lead to dignity in decision making for the position of decisions of dependency, which not frees the people, but takes away decision making from the people and put it in the hands of our so-called political leaders?
Yes, people.
Dependency. So we're okay.
The thing about human nature is this here. I might be struggling, but I want my leaf to look good.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to everything Brother Bolton said about outcomeism and all of that there. But does he have a book? Does he have a book?
Does he? I think he.
Yeah. I believe it's got several books.
He's got a number of books.
Does he have a T-shirt?
A T-shirt?
Yeah, does he have a 12-step plan? I'm saying everything behind of what he just said is pure capitalism.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And everything he said that people needed, people are doing without it, and how he could fix it. Capitalism has proven above all other systems to be the best system to get to the closest of the ideal that he spoke of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. We must tell the truth. What he did not tell us is that Islam, with all its strengths and weaknesses, is both the stepchild.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sitting down, Lou? Are you sitting down?
Say what you got to say.
Islam is both the stepchild of Catholicism.
Of Catholicism.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's a proven fact that Muhammad's early teachers were Catholic nuns.
Okay.
Yeah,
and in terms of that position that you have, how does that translate into the argument of capitalism shaping the real economy that we talk about, and even in terms of that position, when we look at many of the things that he spoke to, that he says it's only going to be improved or changed by really the people changing their circumstances.
Yes, but just like how the American Constitution is designed, it starts out with the words "we the
people." Well, we know we know what's being done to that Constitution right now.
No. But listen to me.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a good example.
Those few words show that the people have transferred their power.
Right.
Transfers my power over to my delegated representative.
Yeah.
Look, I was in Cuba. I was in Cuba, and just sitting down having a talk, and I guess. Anyway, the conversation came up, and I said, there's only one capitalist in Cuba who restaurant went quiet. They're waiting for me to tell them who the capitalist
is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, who's the one capitalist in Cuba?
People will say the Cuban government.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I said,
yeah. What about China? Would you say...
The same thing. The thing that.
What about America?
The average person.
Who's the capitalist in America?
Enjoy.
Yeah. Who's the capitalist in Bermuda?
Well, all I'm saying is this here. Everything that we have promised to the people, no government has yet delivered. That's all I'm saying. I'm talking to people on the internet. They're saying, Trump's the worst man in the world. Trump's the worst man in the world. I said, but look. But you had Obama, and what did he deliver to the black communities in America? Nothing.
Well,
you understand? You gotta get into the psyche.
He couldn't deliver any more than they would allow him to do.
Right. That's right.
Just like Trump is not going to deliver any more than what he's told to deliver.
No, but he delivered more than Obama. That's my
well, he's delivered more, but for who and whom? Huh?
No.
Who?
Look.
Who?
You're saying who?
No, you're saying, I'm asking you.
No.
I'm asking you now. Who? Who is he delivering for on the evidence of what you see?
I want you to pick up my point.
Go ahead.
It's not so much who. I'm talking about black people. Trump, a white man, a white president, has given more to black people in America than Obama, a black president. That's what I'm saying. Talk to your boy Smiley. But
we know. Why is anyone, even that comparison? We would expect that. I would expect that. Every white president before Obama has done more than Obama for black people.
So, look.
If you're talking about economically.
All I'm saying, look, in Bermuda we have something unique. in Bermuda, we have some unique situations.
Okay.
CARICOM's not going to fix it. The hundreds of millions of dollars that are going to go to CARICOM is just going to build new headquarters. So these officials from Bahamas, Jamaica, Anguilla, and these other countries can drive around in limousines and set up offices and have secretaries and travel to Washington on talks and travel. That's all it is. It's like when Mandela became president and people were cheering and running in the street and happy, and Mandela says, "Hold up, be 20 years before I can get running water to you."
And they still don't have running water.
That's right. That's right. So there's a reality that we got to come to grips with. All I'm saying, look, in Bermuda, we have some unique situation. Look, the PLP is the government party. They're doing their thing. Let them do their thing. The UBP done their thing. They've done their thing. Huh?
Right.
The OBA had a divine opportunity to do right by the people. It failed. In order to go forward, there are people within our community that have answers, that have solutions.
Right.
The OBA won't pull on them. The PLP won't pull on them. But there are people that have solutions. We're prepared to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to consultants, and these consultants come back to these same individuals to get their ideas, put it in a
So before I take and I want to take the next caller.
Yeah.
Again, this is especially when we talk about the argument of the consultants that you just pointed out, and your position about what we must do. We see what we must do. I asked you the question, why is it we don't do it? Is it because we have submitted to the fact that in our governance there is dependency that we default to as a people, as opposed to exercising our own dignity to make the collective decisions as the people that challenges, I wouldn't say impose, but impresses upon the government that we, the people, use the example of referendum, we, the people, demand referendum, given that we, the people, exercise the vote that put you there.
But you gave your power to the government.
Dependency.
They don't have to give you a referendum.
There you go.
You gave them the power.
You gave them.
They don't have to listen.
Which speaks to, what is it? Some will say the dichotomy that we find ourselves in, the dualism that we find ourselves in. Yeah. A fait accompli. That is damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Look. All I'm saying, we admire people that are ruthless, that are selfish, and we pick leaders the exact same way. Let an unselfish leader come in. Let a leader come in and say, "Look, I'm not going to take a paycheck. I'm all right."
Well, let's see. I mean, there are two leaders that are vying for the leadership of the country and the party. Both of them speak to honesty. One in particular makes the plea that we have to return to integrity. So let us see. Thanks a lot.
Lou?
Yeah.
Look, when you see Curtis, tell him it's the combined opposition that needs leadership, not the PLP.
It's the people of Bermuda. Thank you. Yep. Ongoing discussion. Ongoing is, like I said, right now there's this is going on fireside chat in the West End with the leadership, and more are vying for leadership positions. But hey, what is the measure of the political leadership, people? Good night.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Lou. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. The question I have to have is, what are we getting as associate members Why is that not enough? And why would we want to pay $1 million to be a member of CARICOM? And the money that can be spent for that, we have a lot of challenges here where that money could be used
$1 million.
better. Yeah. But the money could be used for housing. It can be used for health care. There are so many things that it can be used for your seniors. And so I'm like, is this just a egotistical, selfish ploy to say, oh, well, I got us to be members of CARICOM?
To be full members of CARICOM.
Yeah, full members.
To be full members.
Full members. Full members.
And
why can't we remain
as an associate member?
Yeah.
Again, given the numerous adverts that are out there, you see the argument that's put forward, and I find it somewhat of a weak argument.
Any argument yet?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we know our cultural relevance to CARICOM, to the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
We know our cultural connection.
Yeah.
And I make the argument that full membership, associate membership still doesn't do anything, don't take anything away from my cultural connection to
That's
the
correct.
Caribbean.
Yes.
So your question in terms of the associate versus full membership, when we talk about the full membership in this here, when you talk about this full representation at the table, it places us in the decision making. For example, I think it was on the news tonight. Someone shared something with me. Gary Skelton had something on, speaking to, of course, CARICOM and the whole reparations argument. Right?
Yeah.
Now, we had a delegation of people down there.
Yeah.
They were there. They were not at the table of that interview that we saw.
What were they there for?
They were there as observers, associate members, right? And I would say this here. We don't know, and someone, if you beg to differ, please put your argument forward. But we don't know our associate membership leaders' position on reparations. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
And as full members, would we know? I ask that question. Would we know the government position, the leadership of our country, their position for Bermuda around reparations, given that they were observers at CARICOM? Those are the questions that we have to ask in some of these things.
Okay. Honey, can you turn that down?
Turn your radio down, yeah.
As we already had, remember we had the land grabbing situation, right?
Yes.
Land grab.
Yes.
Nothing came out of that.
Well, yeah.
These countries, Jamaica, Barbados, and these countries for years have been in discussions with the UK about reparations.
Yeah.
That has not happened. So we're going to pay $1 million to find out more about reparations.
Well, we can't even pay $1 million to even deal with our own sovereignty, and we paid over $250,000
right there
for a paper on sovereignty. And I'll take the earlier caller in terms of his question about the legacy or what you admire about the Progressive Labor Party. And I said, when you look at its history, what it was founded on and fought on, and independence, the move toward independence was very much a part of its platform.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen or experienced anything toward independence coming from the Progressive Labor Party, other than Alex Scott.
Yeah, and he was shut down.
Yeah. But I'm saying in our current reality, and when we look at where this is part of the greater geopolitics influence and political leaders, and your question around full membership, people make the noise about we're playing, any organization that you become a part of, there's a fee. There's a membership fee.
Right.
That's everyone.
Right.
NATO, everyone. You pay a fee. Right?
Yeah.
That's what Trump is shouting about. Hey, we're tired of covering all of you. Hey, you all need to start paying more. We pay more for membership than you do. So, same thing. So I say to people, we're making noise. We're asking questions. What does that 1 million in a full membership afford us? That's what we're asking.
That's it.
Right? And I say to people who make noise about 1 million, because you could put 1 million into housing, but hey, you could put 8.2 million into housing too. And you know what we did with 8.2 million, don't you? Huh?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes.
With the consultants for education.
Of course.
So we don't hear, I always find it alarming that we make more noise, have made more noise about the million of membership for CARICOM and less noise and question about outcomes.
Yeah.
8.2 million. But we want to know what's the outcomes for our 1 million of full membership. I question my people in terms of, hey.
Yeah. Well, the thing partially with that as well is, Lou, you have many people who can afford alternatives to education. And so if they are affording private education, then it's not a priority for them. But I'm talking collectively for our country. How are we going to, we can't even operate on the same basis as those bigger islands. For instance, within those bigger islands, you can have migration.
Right.
However, Bermuda is not going to be able to afford that, not on a great scale anyway, maybe in healthcare. However, if we're talking about spending money for full membership, what are the other priorities that this country needs?
Do you go? Now we're getting some. Those are some of the important questions. How will that membership help our housing issue? How will that membership help our health issues with seniors?
That's correct.
Those are the important questions. Yeah.
All right. So here it is. We have, for instance, when it comes to seniors, we have the government employs the largest number of persons in the country
workforce
who are on GEHI insurance,
right?
Which is the worst insurance in terms of benefits for aging people.
So
you want to talk about aging in place, but there are no resources in place to take care of the people.
So let me ask you this question before I take the next call, or given what you just said.
Sure.
Right. What would then be your position with the same government who is also considering or looking at universal health care?
Universal health care has some benefits. However, we live in a country where privatization is the biggest aspect of our cause. The physicians are getting some pretty hefty salaries.
Yeah.
Persons are having to pay large funds for visits to a doctor.
Yeah.
It is not sustainable.
So,
Why we need
given
to
your
look-
position, I mean, most of the countries of CARICOM have universal health care.
yeah,
Bermudians are running to UK,
yeah,
universal health care.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Most
also,
of your European countries, universal
Yeah.
health care.
But
Yeah.
also remember, in any decision that we make, we have to look at the culture of a country. We always seem to want to fit everything, a peg stick into a round hole, and it doesn't fit. So if something is working, why try and fix it?
So I'm not really grasping your full argument, because what we have isn't working. That's why we are having the constant discussions in terms of healthcare, especially for seniors. It's not working. What you currently
Healthcare
have,
is complex.
right? Well, but as complex as it is, there are models out there. Same senior people, different country.
Yeah.
And you said the cultural context of things. Our cultural context is an aging population of seniors. Yeah.
Yes.
With a healthcare system that doesn't meet their needs. Matter of fact, it's not even meeting some of the needs of our children. And we know with an economy that we have, we have a population, and we never used to say this in Bermuda, people.
Right.
But we have an increasing population on the poverty line. Aging and on the poverty line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So these are all some of the issues that we have to discuss when we're talking about measuring our political leadership. And I go back, I'll ask again, what are the outcomes?
Thank you.
What are the outcomes? Thank you, dear.
Anyway, you can take care of the call. Have a good night.
You too,
Thank
dear.
you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night, you on all fronts.
Yes, good night, Dr. Lou. How you doing?
Doing well, sir.
Good, good. I listened to your whole dissertation with the lady just now, but I forgot to mention one point.
Go ahead.
And the point is to put her first to rest about the $1 million full-time CARICOM.
Okay.
Even though the seat has been offered, even though if we take it, we still cannot make any decisions
there you go.
at the table.
Yeah.
So we are now just giving, not giving, but paying fees of $1 million that we cannot partake in.
Now, when I take what you just said, which is very important, and place it in the context of the clip that we were listening to with Shaheed, right? Again, and you're absolutely correct. Hey, we're at the table, but there's still, when it comes to decisions,
exactly, we are not
a dependency. A dependency.
All we are doing is a conduit of $1 million to someone else.
So again, the question, it is a fair question, recognizing all of that. What would be some of the key outcomes given our full membership? Whether it cost us $500,000, $1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million. What are the outcomes?
To me, it's not the amount that will be paid. To me, is what is going to be the chief benefit of our money that we're paying. if we cannot make a decision, sitting at a full membership table, but yet we have to pick up the phone and call over to my good friend Charles there, and ask Charles, hey, mate, look, they're discussing, can we partake in this? Hold on, let me get back to you. What do we do? Hold up the end.
Well, like I said,
because we have to wait. That doesn't make any type of sense.
That's our dependency.
There you go.
I appreciate you.
I was getting
Go ahead.
from the recording. Actually, you know what ran through my mind?
What's that?
Do you remember the Black Wall Street situation?
Yeah.
That was what was running through my mind as you was playing that gentleman there.
Yeah.
Because we already where they are now. We already had it up and running in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the Black Wall Street was before they came and burnt it down.
Yeah.
You know,
so ours was not burnt down. We just gave it away. We just stopped working it.
Well, for a large part of it, I thought.
Some will say because of integration. I don't care if it's because of integration or not. We gave away or stopped. And I think it was Rodney who talked about capitalism. Well, we stopped our capital projects that were regenerated in our communities.
Right.
In our communities, you see. And again, it places into context what Shaheed was talking about. We stopped all of that. We stopped all of it. Stripped ourselves of our own dignity for dependency. There you go. Yes, sir.
There you go, buddy.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Back on the local front.
Yeah.
I kind of, this is just my personal opinion before somebody comes out and get me. I kind of think that Minister Jason Hayward is just a little too thin-skinned to be the leader of the country.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion.
All right.
But anyhow, I sit back and listen because this is getting pretty good.
Well, hey.
Have a good one.
Well, and that's how people feel about Minister Hayward. Good night, you on all fronts. We're discussing measuring our political leadership. We have many of our political leaders who are vying for positional titles, deputy and leader of the country. And we've been discussing here, you know, turn your radio down for us because there's a piercing in my ear. We've been discussing, hey, the number one thing we should be asking ourselves is for the outcomes and not these abstract things that are not measured or cannot be measured. So good night. You on all fronts.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So regarding the leadership, personally, I'm not impressed with the two candidates.
You're fading out on us again, my brother. You sound like you're speaking into a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
that's better.
As I was saying,
that's better.
Is it better now?
You're much better.
Great. So, regarding the leadership, you know, personally, I'm not impressed with either of the two candidates myself.
But we only have two candidates.
Yeah. I'm not impressed actually with either myself.
All right.
I think that Minister Hayward could use a bit more experience.
Okay. He needs a bit more experience.
Course, sorry?
But wouldn't you say he's had a significant amount of experiences with the portfolio that he has? I mean, he has a very, very important portfolio.
Sure.
And I'm saying what? He has over 5, 6, 7 years of experience in his portfolio?
Yeah, he has experience. Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to the country, he could use a bit more. He's never been deputy leader.
Okay, so you don't believe he has enough. You don't believe he has enough experience that transfers to the leadership of the country.
Right. And neither does Curtis Dickinson.
Okay.
Mr. Dickinson either. I would say the same.
What is it that Curtis Dickinson has that Jason doesn't have that you believe may be more appealing to the people, given you recognize or you feel that Jason Hayward does not have enough experience? What is it that Curtis Dickinson has?
Curtis Dickinson has anything over Jason Hayward. That's not what I'm actually saying. I'm saying both gentlemen could use a bit more experience.
All right.
What we have, and I'm just saying that I would rather David Burke continue for at least one more.
Right.
And I think at that point, the persons would have more experience. Curtis Dickinson has not been a minister for any significant.
You believe that Minister or Premier Burt should continue in the premiership role?
I'd like to see him continue in the premiership role.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Even if he should remove the financial, I would, I would like to see him continue in the leadership role.
Well, don't you feel that his leadership as premier is going to be? Well, let me ask this question. Of the two, a Curtis or a Jason Hayward, right? As premier of the country.
Yes.
Who would you see as the Minister of Finance on either one of those?
Minister of Finance of the two?
Yeah.
Mr. Dickinson. I would see. I would see.
So you're saying if Mr. Dickinson is successful, if the delegates select Mr. Dickinson, yeah?
I doubt they will.
Well, I'm just saying, but this is part of our dependency, you see. The rest of us are out here speculating and pontificating, doing all of these things, but we really have no vote on the leader of the country. It's the delegates the delegates. See, we're dependent. The people, and I'm using the term of one of the other callers.
So you would rather the people.
We the people, right?
Well, we have to respect. I think
have a dependency on the delegates to select the leader
I actually think that
of the party and the country, given that they have the government.
We got to be able to respect the process in which the party has constructed and has been in place now for a very long time. I said we just can't now just say that we should just erase that engine, that whole process construct, and now we just want to trash that and move to that's not what I would call constructive democracy. No, that's not what we got to put in place. If we're going to do that, then we should put in place something that is far more responsible. You know what I'm saying? Whereby we can address the party or what have you.
What would that look like? What would that look like?
Or seek to perhaps, change the process and so forth. But we just can't say the heck with that. We want something different. This is not what I would call mature or responsible democracy.
I would consider mature, responsible democracy if the people of Bermuda had a voting decision. Some people say, well, you have a voting decision given the party, but determining who the leader of the country will be.
We don't have that.
No, I'm saying I know we don't. Listen to me. I know we don't have it. I know we don't have it, but you just said we would need to come with something better, different, or so forth, and that is the different thing.
The party. If we want to address that as an alternative or what have you, then we got to come up with something sound, something that is responsible. We just can't stuff and say we want that. It don't work like that.
But I don't think we're just talking about we want. I think people people have put forward solutions. It's the equivalent, for example, in the United States. We know that you always hear during their elections the popular vote. You can get the popular vote, but don't mean you're going to be the president of the country, because the Electoral College determines that.
Sure.
Right? So here in Bermuda, we give a false popular vote. We the people, we're here talking, and we're putting out our vote of who we like for the leadership of the country.
Well,
we're having these town hall meetings are going on by both candidates, but the great majority of the people that are there, they don't have any decision or say in the leadership. That's all left to the delegates. That's like the Electoral College.
Certainly, they should be.
That's like the Electoral College. The rest of us, if you're not a member of either party, all right, then hey,
delegates are influenced.
You have no say on the leadership.
Can be influenced by the wider public and from it's all community.
Really? I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
You think delegates cannot be influenced?
I don't know. I don't think the greater public can influence that decision.
Yeah, of course. If they're at the town halls and hearing the candidates making their pitches and so forth, certainly that may go into the decision. They at the town halls as well. We shouldn't think that these people just in a house and they don't participate in the wider community efforts and initiatives and events.
Maybe I'm taking a position as a political cynic, and that as non-members in a town hall giving our informed political position on things, you're saying that we may have something persuasive to say for the delegates to say, okay, I'll vote for this person over that person.
Hear the candidates at these town halls just saying.
Yeah.
But I'd like to speak to the CARICOM as well.
Go ahead, then I'll take the next caller.
Issue. Yeah. It is. When we talk about outcomes regarding CARICOM, we must understand. We can't look at this again with this what I would call again this immature lens, right? Which is, hey, we putting this money in, we should get something. No, this is not how it works. This is not no bank we invested in and we get a return. This is the fee to join an organization. You see, that's what it is. It ain't about, I put this money up and I should get. This is to join an organization and to be able to participate on a high level within the organization. Right? How long are we just supposed to sit out here and say we're just going to be associates? Associate don't give you nothing in terms of benefit. Being an associate member doesn't give you nothing. There are various organizations where you can join as an associate and you don't get nothing compared to what full members get within that organization. That's how it works.
Right.
And so the government obviously is seeing that the country will sees the benefit that will come from being a full member. And so we're looking at collaboration. We're looking at perhaps, showing up our path towards independence, because if we're looking at independence in the future at some point, it just, the party's vision at some point, right? And so
let me ask you that. You're saying we be looking at independence, referendum or not?
No.
Okay.
Referendum, no.
So, for your position,
at this point,
for
I'm not
your position,
no forever. The party could decide.
Your position also is no referendum for CARICOM.
Oh, referendum to join CARICOM?
Yeah.
That's what you're asking.
No. I asked you, giving your statement, a referendum or not for independence.
Referendum. We have a government, and the government has been there not really participating a whole lot, but basically observing.
Right.
And for a long time. And so now the government sees opportunity, benefit in joining the organization as a full member. And now we want a referendum from people who people calling me and criticizing and don't even know what CARICOM even is. And these are the same people who will turn up to vote, who don't know what CARICOM even is.
Well, like I
They don't know what
said,
it
I
is.
think the government has fairness to them, and other people feel it's not enough. You do your own research,
Yeah.
but they have put out their pro and con arguments for CARICOM, and they have had town halls and all of that. So people cannot say that they haven't had an opportunity to be active participants in the decision making. While people are out there and say they will want a referendum.
It becomes very risky when the government says referendum. Because the government sees benefit. And so now you're going to put that out there to the wider public who don't really know what benefits are to be found by way of joining CARICOM as a full member.
All right.
It now becomes very risky for the government to do that because the referendum will come back negative. What if it comes back negative?
Well,
and the government actually sees benefits, and now it's going to risk the people risk that the people don't even know. That don't know, that either don't like government, don't like leadership. This is what we do in this country. We don't sit up there and actually research.
Well, let us see. Like I said, these are ongoing. We got until October. Hopefully, we don't take. Let's say the summer recess sometimes puts us in a lullaby state where these things escape us for about a month or two. But I'm going to say a month because August.
Probably short.
Yeah, just off the cut match. But again, it'll kick in September again. But I believe that this is going to be an ongoing decision or discussion. But like I said, do we move to exercising our dignity in decisions, or do we continue for dependency?
On our own and be isolated. We should seek benefit in joining other nations. We have, already developed kinship and these sorts of things.
All right. I got you.
I mean, we just can't we're just going to be on our own.
Well, no one in the world is really on their own. Someone's always
very
there.
Small, and these countries have resources that we can actually benefit.
Well, like I said,
yes, they do. They have oil. They have vegetation.
All of the above. Well, we must also look at our resources. Let me take the next caller. Thanks a lot.
Indeed.
Yeah. Ongoing discussion. Like I said, we're measuring when we talk about the geopolitics that we're dealing with and the. I'm going to say the roster of persons vying for leadership of the government, Progressive Labour Party government, the government, knowing that Minister Burt is giving up his seat as premier. And we have the two candidates in Jason Hayward and Curtis Dickinson vying for position. And our discussion tonight is again when the whole issue of integrity and dignity. Well, hey, this is a how can I say, a campaign for dignity versus dependency, because you the people, we the people, and I was just sent something. Pretty good attendance up there in the West End at the fireside chat. Pretty good attendance. I'm sure it's a mix of delegates and non-delegates. But the point of reference here is the great majority of us, we don't decide who the leader of the country is going to be if you're not a member. So there's a dependency. We will depend on the delegates to make that decision for us, the people of Bermuda. And with the two choices that we have in Curtis Dickinson and Jason Hayward, both will and should have to answer the question about the outcomes. What outcomes? Let's get past the abstractions that we heard. Democracy. Sovereignty. What would be the outcomes of the administration? Tanae Furbert, who has just jumped in and put her head in the ring for deputy leader with Michael Weeks, with Lauren Scott. We don't know Zane Da Silva's status yet. I haven't heard the latest. I know Zane, they said, was still contemplating. So, these are all people vying for political leadership titles. They're already political leaders, they say. But I asked the question, what's the outcomes? What's the outcomes of their leadership? And while the great majority of us will wait for the next election period, we do not decide on the leadership. Good night. You're on All Fronts. You are the last caller. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to say anything, but Dr. Lou, how are you tonight?
I'm well, dear. Thanks you.
Well, I've heard so much, and I agree basically with what all those gentlemen have said. Yeah. I just do. And I've said it before about the CARICOM, that we need a referendum. I've said it before.
Yeah, I remember your argument.
I said that
you're consistent.
Because to me, this is not a dictatorship. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we keep saying that. We keep saying that.
Or is it? That's what I said. Or is it? Because it sounds like it. You're going to do what I say. We're going to do it. Take your money, and those of us that have property that pay land tax, and we're going to do with it whatever, and you are going to accept. But we say no. And I do agree with the fact that even if it's independence, there was a referendum, but the most of everyone said no. And I feel for sure they're going to do it again if we had one. So if you don't want a referendum on these things, what? We're going to have someone to say, this is the deal, you take it or leave it.
Well,
next time, Dr. V, when it comes to voting,
I don't think it'll be take it or leave it. I believe, out of fairness, the government has put it to the people, whether we like the methodology or not. They have put it to the people. They've held town halls. They've had town halls.
I know that. I know that, Dr.
They're doing social media infomercials. They're doing everything to, quote unquote, inform, educate the people, and give the people the opportunity to put their questions forward.
Yeah, I know that. But
with this here also implies, and this gets to your dictatorship question.
That's right. And I do.
The dictatorship is. Right. Well, again,
you do is what I said. You do what I say, regardless whether you like it or not.
Well,
that's what a dictatorship is.
Well, your vote gave them the majority, so and with that vote also gave them the license, right, to make the decisions for you because you put yourself in the position of.
I know that. So what I'm saying is, the next time there's a vote, people have to think of what they're voting for or who they're voting for. And I'm going to say this much. If somebody else takes the leadership the delegates make in this PLP, which I said I came from the UBP over to the PLP, well, the person, I really feel that Curtis Dixon should be the Minister of Finance. That's all I'm saying to you.
Right.
Even if he doesn't get the leadership of the, the party, I just feel that he should be the one, but that's my opinion.
Well,
Lee,
let us see. Let us see if a Jason Hayward becomes the premier of the country, will he have the courage?
Or will he be told what to do and he'll do it? That's what I feel with Mr. Hayward.
There you go.
That's all I feel. Wow. And there are other people that feel that way about him too. He'll do what somebody there in that party will see. Do this.
Well,
this person,
then,
and he'll do it.
Then if that is the case, We, the people outside of it, will have to have something to say to the delegates who make that decision. I appreciate you.
It's been great hearing you. Take care. Have a good night.
All right, now, take care.
Goodbye.
Be blessed.
Bye.
All right, my people. Top of the hour. Thank you for a healthy conversation, as always. And we've been talking about really the measure of our political leadership in the, we were talking about the geopolitics of our governance. And our governance, as localized as it is, has greater geopolitical implications, especially as we know it's tied to our economy. And much of what we are discussing, have been discussing, CARICOM, there are many other things. I mean, shoots, we can even talk about fintech and what the premier has set up in that as it relates to our economy. That was put forward as a third leg of our economy. Has it shaped up to be? I don't know. Warrants some deeper discussion. Many of us probably don't feel. We're still trying to resuscitate even tourism. New tourism CEO, boy, there's no shortage. So we have our work cut out for us, people. And as we go forward and go through this summer recess, because like I said, next week on all fronts, hopefully we'll have a replay, not of this particular segment, but maybe one of the others, or Brother Glenn will put something in the space. And then towards the night before Cup match and the Somerset victory, or St. George's, so it'll be nice. We will we'll close out the summer session with our Cup match series. We are having studio, actually. Ludrow Robertson. We're going to have a special Cup match conversation with Ludrow Robertson. That's an elder, gave much to the cultural development of Bermuda. So we're going to have that conversation. And like I said, people, Dr. Shan need to lead. And on all fronts, we'll go on our summer recess in August and be back fresh come September. So on that note, you know how we do it. On all fronts, we don't fight on any one front. We fight on all fronts. Keep the peace. Stay safe. Don't drive like a lunatic out there. Think of the rest of us.
You've been listening to On All Fronts. Be listening again next week, Wednesday, between 8.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.